Hello, I hope. Always the way, isn't it? You end up running late for these sorts of things. At least I do. So, the game today is to... what is the game today? The game today is to continue the process we were going through of setting up our... the Loopy template, the Loopy Pro template that we are using for when it works, that we are using for I'll get there, words are good, that we're using for singing chorus songs. Now, when we left it, we were pretty much set up with a single layout, this layout here, that we can use for 4 different kinds of song. So we can use the sample here, and we've got a magic button that will step through those. So we can do, oh, the rain, it rains all day long, bold Riley, oh, bold Riley, and them northern winds, they blow so strong, bold Riley, oh, has gone away. Goodbye, my sweetheart, goodbye, my dear, oh, bold Riley, oh, bold Riley, goodbye, my darling, goodbye, my dear, oh, bold Riley, oh, has gone away, which is a traditional folk song form where you have call, response, and then an elaboration or even just a repeat, and then a sort of pre-chorus bit that repeats on every verse, but that you don't want to be repeating when you repeat the chorus at the end of the song, and then the full chorus. And that then lets us, again, by pressing that single magic button, that then lets us do oh, we're outward bound for the Bengal Bay. Bold Riley, oh, bold Riley, get bending, me lads, 'tis a hell of a way. Bold Riley, oh, has gone away. Goodbye, my sweetheart, goodbye, my dear, oh, bold Riley, oh, bold Riley, goodbye, my darling, goodbye, my dear, oh, bold Riley, oh, has gone away. Goodbye, my sweetheart. There's a thing that we need to fix, because there's a classic piece of pilot error where I forget to stop the chorus recording. And it's really annoying. Really annoying. Now, something that has changed in the latest version, I'm running a beta of Loopy Pro. So I can do this. This does not work at the moment. No, I'm not going to worry. I don't want to get sidetracked on that. We're going to cover this pilot error correction. But first of all, I'm going to talk about the thing that we would like. We'll start slowly. So one of the things that is noticeable about default loopers is that what happens is, especially if you're listening in stereo, when you are listening in stereo, let me just turn my headphone up a little bit. So, yeah, that's right. When you're listening in stereo, you will notice that all the loops, let's just do into pickup chorus mode, so that all the loops all the loops, all the loops, all the loops, all the loops, all the loops. And when we listen to that back, they're in the center of the stereo field. And what we might like to do is we might want to do, I promise you I'll sing something this time. We might want to record the first set. We might want to record the first set in the center. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do? Oh. Hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises early in the morning. And the first one, we want it to be in the centre. Hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises early in the morning. And then what we might want to do is to add another thing, and what will be is we'll be away over on the left-hand side. Hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises early in the morning. And then the next one we might want to be over on the other side. Hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises early in the morning. And then we might want one that's a little bit over here. Hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises early in the morning. Oh, that's terrible harmonies, but you can hear. Hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises, hooray, and up she rises early in the morning. So you can hear that. Back in the middle. Yeah. Oh. Let's get me back in the middle. You can hear that I'm spread across the stereo field, but that's really fiddly. You know what I mean? It's a pain in the bum. Let me just. Let me make it a long hold. That's a bit of a pain in the bum to set up. It would be nice if we had a way of, I will get to words. Words are good. It would be nice if we could automate that process. Yeah. So first of all, we want something that can adjust the balance, the location, the position in the stereo field where our recording goes on our clips. Yeah? Hopefully making sense. Right, so the way I solved this, because what I like to, I'm often singing sort of 6-verse things, and I like to I'll get there in the end. If it's a 6-verse thing, I don't, to make it use different pans each time through, we would have to do some quite complicated in-loopy automation. And if we end up singing an epically long song, we will eventually run out of steps that we've sequenced. And we could start back again at the beginning. So, but what I'd like is to choose a random pan and then pan that left, pan that right, and then choose another random pan and pan that left and pan that right. But start with that hard left, hard right, medium left, medium right. So, in order to do that, I use a piece of software called miRack, which is, I thought it was free, but it's because I bought it a very long time ago and I can't remember how much it costs. And Apple, when you look at the App Store, doesn't tell you how much it costs. I think it's 15 quid. It's a modular synthesizer emulator, and it's incredibly capable and powerful. And I am barely scratching the surface of how it works and what it does. So I'll show you how to get it set up. There is an earlier video and a download available which will walk you through just installing the software and installing a preset that I've set up for you. But that's kind of boring. So what we want to do is to I'm going to take you right through from nothing in the miRack preset to a complete working example, and then we'll look at how we plumb it in to the system here. Yeah. So let me press that button. Hopefully you can still see me. I can see you. All manner of things are well. And we've got a mouse button here. We're going to start having clicky things happening. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to split this input. I used to do this with a bus, but it turns out that at the moment, if you use a bus like this bus that I'm using for a slapback echo when I'm performing, if you use a bus, it introduces a tiny amount of latency, which doesn't matter when you're doing your reverb processing or your delay, but it does matter when it's your loops, because you want your loops to be as tight as you can possibly get them. And one thing that and I know it did throw me off when I was using the buses. I was trying to work out why I was sounding so kind of slightly off, and it's because the timing had changed slightly. So what we're going to do is we're going to split this. We're going to add another copy of our hardware input, and it's going to be hardware input 1, the same input that we've already used, and we're going to turn its monitoring off so we're not getting doubling or anything like that. And this is going to be the channel. This copy of our first channel is going to be the channel that goes to the loops, so we can stop sending our first channel to the loops. This channel now is all about what I sound like live. The balance is central. And this channel here, we don't hear this channel until it's been recorded. And we're going to duplicate all these. So and that's the compressor. So that's basically, we don't have one instance of these apps, but what we do have is absolute copies. Loopy is keeping them in sync with their configurations. So the sound coming out of this B channel should be identical to the sound coming out of this one. But we can, if I mess with the balance here, you can hear me moving about. But if I mess with the balance here, it makes no difference because you're not hearing it until you're hearing the recorded loop playing back. Yeah. So what we can do is we can send a MIDI control, continuous control, to this balance, and it will adjust left and right without the live vocal being affected in any way. Yeah. So now we need to add a MIDI source, and the MIDI source is a miRack MIDI FX. The reason we use MIDI FX is because, as you'll see, it's got a certain amount of stuff preset. Now, we don't actually need the host sync thing here. That I can double click that, go to manage, and delete it. And let's get you back into position. So what I'm going to do is we have to think about what we want to be happening. And the first 4 things we want to happen is we want a hard left pan, a right left pan, mid left pan, hard left pan, that's your right, a hard right pan, a hard left pan, a mid right pan, a mid left pan, and then we want it to be random. So let's first of all deal with that sequenced pan, right? Now, I'm going to add some buttons. Actually, no, I'm going to add a MIDI trigger. And I'm going to change that. I'm going to configure that and make that one C4, because that's the default. And we're going to want some other controls, so I'm going to do that now. Octave 4 is the default octave that Loopy chooses. So I'm just going to do that. So when you go to send a note in Loopy, it defaults to octave 4, middle C. So I'm going to default to octave 4. But annoyingly, now when we make a thing here, it goes to C2 as the bass. So I've changed that. So we've got a keyboard now, and we can see. So what I'm going to add, this isn't actually needed for our purposes, but it's really handy, is let me search. The multi-voltage visualizer. In fact, this one's, I'm going to add 2. This one and this one. And what we can do is we can wire them together. So the equivalent road. So what we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to visualize our voltage and also see the exact voltage. So if we look at C4 and we connect it, you can see we've got 0 volts at present being sent on that trigger. But when I press C4 here, it goes up to 10 volts and then it drops. So that we can kind of treat that as a trigger switch. So when the key is pressed, it goes to 10 volts. So we're turned on. And when it's not, it's turned off. And we can kind of, a thing that modular synthesizers like is a thing like a clock signal. And you can think of a clock signal. A clock signal is actually just a tick, and it's a square wave going up and then down. And you tend to think of that clock as being 120 beats per minute or whatever. But if you just think of it as an irregular tick, as a trigger, then you can think of that as driving some kind of sequence. I'll get there. You can think of that as driving some kind of sequence, not on the clock, but on when we press a button. So it's not on a 120 BPM. It's just on our button is a signal, and every time that we see that rising edge, then we do something. So what we can do is we can add a sequencer. And I think I added it to the favorites because I was kind to myself. Yeah, here we go, ADDR sequencer. So if we connect that as our clock and we connect C#4 as our reset, yeah, and we send C#4, now, and we have our out. Yeah, so at the moment you can see it's 0. Now we could make it then go all the way to the left, all the way to the right, half the way to the left, half the way to the right, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, plus that 5. So now, so we've got, it's a 5-step sequence, isn't it? So we've set ours to a 5-step sequence, and now when we press C4, watch what happens. Now it's panned hard left. Now it's panned hard right. Well, now it's -10. We've not actually turned it into a pan yet. Now it's -10. Now it's +10. Now it's -5 and a bit. We can, in fact, fiddle. Can we get it to exactly -5? I can't. Call that close enough. And then next time we press it, it's 5 and a bit. Let's reduce that. Annoying. There's one annoying thing about miRack. There's no way to double click on a value and go, I want you to be 5. So this sequencer is every time we send C4, it's stepping through that sequence of values. And we can, I'm not going to do this yet but the pan here equates to CC10, and we could just send that output. It's a little bit more complicated than that, because we would like, when our button is not pressed, when we've let go of C4, as you can see at the moment, it's still hard pan to -10. And let's reset it. Why isn't reset doing what I thought it would? Oh, it's C#. Reset takes us back to step 1. So what we would like is for while we are holding C4, we want it to be -10 volts. But when we let go, we want it to be 0. So the way you do that in a modular synthesizer is with a thing called a voltage-controlled amplifier. So let's add a voltage-controlled amplifier, or a VCA as they're called. So this is a VCA, and I'm just going to move it next to that, and I'm going to set its scale to 1, and its scale to 1. Otherwise, so what that does is it takes a control voltage from a gate or from a clock, and it adjusts its input according to where that control voltage is on a scale of 0 to 10. So when it's seeing 10 volts, I would want to make it linear. Not that it matters, but we are using it for control signals, so linear is better. So now when we send C4, what's happening is the control voltage is seeing 10 volts. Let me just check a thing, by the way. Right, I am streaming. That's good. Last time I did this, I did the whole stream before I realised that I'd forgotten to actually start the streaming, which is why the previous version of this is not marked as live. So now we have a control voltage. Let me get this right. We have our control voltage going into our VCA from C4. So when that's high, then the input, which is the output of our sequencer, then the input will be passed through. And when it's low, when it's receiving 0 volts, let's just get ourselves, so let's get ourselves, we can see our gate, we can see what the sequence thinks it is, and then we can see, I'm going to put that down at the bottom, we can see what the VCA is allowing through. So now when we press C4, what should happen? The sequencer is going to advance to plus 10 volts, and while we're pressing it, the control voltage will be high, which means the VCA will be passing it through. It's called a voltage-controlled amplifier, but in this particular case, it's actually a voltage-controlled attenuator, really. You know, when there's 0 voltage, there's nothing. When there's 10 volts, you get unity gain. So it's not actually an amplifier so much as it is, in this particular case, a gate. So now we are pressing it, and we can see that the output is plus 10. When we let go, the control here is still plus 10. The source balance is still plus 10. But what's getting passed through as our balance is 0. And when we press it again, you can see -5 going through. And we release, -5 remains there. Press again. And we are back at our position. Yep. So that's fine for the first 4 steps. What do we want to happen after the first 4 steps? Well, first of all, let's introduce another useful module. This thing here. Nexus. Now, Nexus is a fancy. It's quite clever. Not sure what it's intended for, but I know what I use it for in this particular case. I'm just setting all these up to their maximum. So what happens is Nexus takes an input. That input will be our clock signal. And for as many times as is given by that number on the first one, as many times as is given by that number, it sends any gate it receives through to the first of these outputs, and after the first 4 it sends it off to the second output. I'm just connecting that to the voltmeter so you can see what happens. I'm also going to connect the reset. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, and watch the 5th time. It's no longer sending it to. Let's just actually, yeah, let's. So that's the master gate, and this is what. I can't remember what the module's called. Doesn't matter. That's what that's passing through on its top button, and that's what it's passing through on its bottom output. So if we press C4, you look, it's not going to the top. And you can also see that the sequencer is not advancing. So if we press C4 sharp to reset, our sequencer is back at 0. And now when we press C4, the voltage is going to the top button. You can even see the thing lighting up. And then it's going to the bottom button. And it will keep going to the bottom button for as long as we like until we press the reset. So now what I would like to happen is to have some kind of randomness happening when we so I would like a random voltage, yeah, when we press. Now the way of getting random voltage is to use a thing called a sample and hold. And let's start. I will configure the sample and hold so that it's normal noise is white. That's a completely random distribution across its range. It's not weighted in any way, and its range will be, for our purposes, plus or minus 10 volts at the moment. And so what happens is a sample and hold module has a gate, and when the gate goes high, it samples and remembers whatever the value is at its input. But if it doesn't have an input, this particular version of a sample and hold module, it samples its internal noise source. Yeah? What do you mean its internal noise source? I hear you asking. Well, an internal noise source is the white noise. So now, whenever we press C4 and it reaches, because it's not reaching it yet, now if you look, it's changing it to a random pan. and we're not actually sending it to a pan because we are words. I'll get words. I know words. We're not actually sending it to a pan because we've not set that up. Damn. Oh, I'm not really being. So now what we can do is we can do exactly the same VCA trick. In fact, we can make use of this VCA. So the control voltage is still from there. The input, well, let's move the output. The input, it's linear, it's up to 4. So now, when we press C4, you'll see that random thing is being gated back to 0 in exactly the same way. And we can take that output and that output from the VCA and feed them into a mixer. I'm using an add mult here because I'm actually going to make use of that later. So that output, where's that go? That's going to be our B, and this output is going to be our A, and we are interested in A plus B as our kind of final output. And now when we press C4, it goes, well, let's reset. So we should see on this bit here, we should see -10, +10, -5-ish, +5-ish, and then random. What am I doing wrong? Oh, yeah, I know why. I'm using the wrong gate. Rather than using the direct gate, I will use the gate after it's been through this splitter. So let's reset again, C#4. So now when we press C4, we get -10, +10, -5, +5, random, 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 random. What I would like to happen is at the moment, you can see what's happening is we are getting a random pan, and it could be way to the left or it could be way to the right. What I would like to happen is to have a random pan to the left, then the equivalent pan to the right. Random pan to the left, the equivalent pan to the right. So to do that, what do we need to happen? Well, we need, first of all, we need the clock that's driving the sample and hold to be at half the speed. So we can get a clock divider. Where are we? Yeah. This clock divider here is the one that's worked for me. Let me just see, I want it there, so let's move this and move that. So this gate here is going in, and let's again set up the reset. So we want the rate to be half that. Yeah. It'll do. And now what we'll see is we are currently still in random mode. So we will see minus 6.54, minus 5.314, minus 5.314. Now it'll change, minus 0.36, same again. Yep. So what do we need to happen next? Well, next, what do we need to happen next? We want, for a start, we want our sample and hold here to, instead of going to plus or minus 10, we want it going just zero to 10. So now, when we keep pressing C4, it's repeating the same thing. So we want every other signal to be, rather than be multiplied by 1, we want it to be multiplied by minus 1. How do we make that work? Well, I don't know at the moment. I can't remember how I did it. And I don't know I'm going to do it the same way. We have a thing called an attenuverter. Is this the right one? Yes. So, our attenuverter, let me see if I can get this right, ranges between, so if you've got, let's just give it a voltage. Let's just set this to 5 volts as a volt source. And A plus B, let's set that as our input, and let's look at the output. The output at the moment is 0 because our attenuverter is set to 0. It's like a VCA. So when it's all the way up to unity, like that, then we're giving it 5 volts. And when it's all the way down to minus, we're giving it whatever. So, kind of what we want is, the way I tend to think of it, is we've got this input, and this input ranges between, at the moment, 0 and 10 is what it can do. At the moment it's that, but it could be, you know, we could take it as if it were a bus signal, you know, so it's 10. This is an incredible utility module. I use it for all sorts of things. So we've got a thing coming in at 10 volts. Now what we could do is we could give it an offset of minus 10. So when our default is minus 10, and then when we are at maximum attenuation, it goes up, it rises to 0. Or we could set it so that our offset is -5. Ah. And then turn it on, and then it will range between plus and -5. And if it ranges between plus and -5, we can easily set our sample and hold to between plus and minus, either, you know, up to 0 to 1, but it could be 0 to 2, or it could be multiplied by 2 by our thing. So let me just, or probably better is, I'm going to reset that, and I'm going to move A in, B out, A plus B down to the bottom, just to get them out of the way. So we've got this signal coming in. Our gate signal is 0 to 10. We'd like it to be what do I mean? What do I mean? We would like it to swing between -1 and +1. Well, I know how to do that. Let's get rid of the attenuverter. I just realised there's an easy way to do this. Sometimes I've remade this several times, and I always think, oh, I've got it sorted now. But let's watch what we do. So let's search for a sequencer. I think I'm going to end up using four hands. What's that do? 2 groups, 10 voltages. Right, I think that would the only catch is it's bloody huge. Oh well, let's use it anyway. So 4 hands. Let's just move that down to there. Let's move you over to here. Let's move you over to here. Let's move you over to here. And you can get moved as well. Let's see. So what we can do, let me get this right. Let me see if I can get this right. So we've got 1 and we've got -1. And let's see. So next is going to be running on the clock. Okay. I'm going to make 3 be plus 10, and it's going to go to the reset input. Okay, so where's the output? There must be an output. Come on. Next. Oh, God. Reset's not doing what I thought it was. Let's get rid of that reset part. 1 minus 1. I'm actually thinking about something. We want it to be minus 1, 1. So yeah, when we get to 3, we want to go to reset 1. So where is the global out? Is there a global out? No, I'm pretty sure the sequencer doesn't do what we want. So let's delete it and let's try a different sequencer. I'm going to go back to our essential ADDR sequencer because I think I can make that work. Where's it gone? Favorites. ADDR seek. And what we've got is we're going to go for minus 10 to 10. And we are going to have all of 2 steps. And our clock will be the passed out clock. Our reset will be reset. And our output will be there. So now if we send C4, it's going why aren't you going from minus 10 to 10? What's going on? Right, so what we can then do is use that as an input to that, and what we're going to do is we're going to set the range of our sample and hold to 0 to 1 volt, and we're going to feed the sample and hold's output, which is currently going direct to the control voltage, is instead going to go to B here, and we're looking for A times B into that. So now what's this going into? Oh yeah, that's, I can get rid of that. So now when we do C4, we're seeing random 7.31232 minus 7.31232, new random, wahey. Now, there's a thing I want to check. So we're going to reset. So now we are going to see hard pan left, hard pan right, mid pan left, mid pan right, random pan left, and a new random pan right. That is not what we want. We need a kind of staggered behavior on our clock divider. We want it divided by 2, but starting 1 later. And we can do that with a thing called a shift register, which I haven't yet put in. So a shift register let me see if I get this right. I can't promise I'm going to get this right. We want the second thing, and the trigger is going to be our clock, our regular clock. So let's reset, and I'll explain to you what a shift register does. So a shift register, every time, it's like a sample and hold, but every time it sees a trigger, it puts the value at in its first output and nudges what was in the first output down to the second output, and the second to the third, and the third to the fourth, and the fourth to the fifth. So you are essentially delaying, in the use I'm making of it, is I'm delaying that first tick by 1 tick. I think I've got this right. So we go 1 left, hard right, mid left, mid right, random right, but let's just see. New random. Right. Let me see if I can work out how we fix that. Let's reset. So it's that first one we don't want. I have this working in a different setting, so bear with me a second. Save that patch. And let's load. Open existing. So what am I doing? No, that's not the right one. That's not the right one either. Right, so what have I got connected to? Our input is divided by 2. Our trigger is that. And, oh, right, it's the first one I want. Right, okay. So let's go back. Open existing. It's in others. Walkthrough. So yes, it turns out I was looking at the wrong place for that. That wants to be there. Now, let's reset. So that is delaying it by 1, and before it was delaying it by 2, and I'm a fool. So now, hard left, hard right, mid left, mid right, random right, same random the other way. So what I need to do to get us going left right is to adjust this address sec there. So now when I reset, hard left, hard right, mid left, mid right, random left, same random right, random left, new random, same random right, new random left, new random right. So we've got a number coming out being multiplied by plus or minus 10, and then the same number repeating. So the shift register here is delaying the initial change the sample and hold by 1, so we get the last random sample and hold, or the most recent random sample and hold is there for 2 beats. Yes, Semtex, so am I. So if you can see, we've got this delayed. We've got, if we, let's just show you what's happening with, yeah, if we go from, let's delete all these apart from that last one there, and let's concentrate on what's happening on the input to the shift register and the sample that we've got of the shift register. So what we've got is, if you think about it, every time we click C4, the 10 and the 0 swap places. So we've delayed our changing every 2 by 1, and that means that it that means we, for the timing of the rest of the sequence, it gives us the one random to the left, random to the right balance thing set up. So that is a working random sequencer. Yeah, there's no, it's not the sexiest random sequencer in the world. I've made cleaner versions of this, although actually, no, I haven't. This is pretty clean, in fact, using the address seek to do the -1. I was doing something quite complicated and logic-y, and it was fine as far as it went. But not so fine from the point of view of being comprehensible and explicable. In fact, I could use this anyway. Doesn't matter. We now have a working system. I'm going to let's just tighten everything up, move you down one, move you there, and move you there, and then get all this back. So now this 10th output, our random A plus B here, wants to go to pan. So now I can, I'm just going to delete this, manage, does so many things, delete this. So now we've got this CC10 coming out from our MIDI. So what we can do is we can add a control setting, add a binding in our default profile, add a new binding, and it is going to be to adjust the input. We're going to adjust the parameter of our audio source, and the parameter we're going to adjust is the parameter on the poorly named input, and it's going to be the balance, and it's going to be continually adjusted between 100% left and 100% right. So we're going to save that, and for our binding it's going to be the MIDI in from our miRack MIDI FX, and it's going to be CC10 pan position course, and it's continuous. Okay, so we save that, control settings, close, and now let's open up that and make it smaller and set that to be C4 and reset things. And the thing to look at is the balance of this second input, yeah? So it's going to go hard left, it's going to go hard right, it's going to go, should have gone mid left, now it's sort of working, but it's sort of not. What have I done wrong? Let's reset. And I'm going to make my life a little bit easier by adding over here a dial. Let's move you and make you nice and big. And on value change, we're going to adjust a parameter again, and it's the audio source parameter, and it's the input, and it's the balance. So that should let us see, oh bollocks, that should let us see what's happening without having to have this open, and I can make this bigger. So what's happening when I press C4, Let's reset first. When I press C4, it's going all the way to the left. It's going all the way to the right. Should be doing. That's wrong. So let's move you out of the way and let's add that voltage meter back in again. See what I forgot. So you are that. What's going on? Reset. -10, +10. -5, +5. Wonder what that means. So that's getting the right values. Oh, actually, hold on a mo. Is it plus or minus 5? So if let's just push this up to 5. Oh, let's not. Let's make this be 5. And let's remove the pan connection and connect pan to that. Ah, right. So it's a hard so we want plus or minus 5, not plus or minus 10. I'd forgotten that. Okay, so this is ranging to plus or minus 5 as well. So what we can do is, at the moment, that's our simple mixer, essentially. So what I can do is I can take this down to 2, exactly 2. And feed that into A, and then feed out A divided by B. And B, because we're not giving it a voltage, B is 2. So what we're getting, I hope, is A divided by B. So let's reset. -5, +5. What is going on? Let me reset. -5, +5. I think I need to check what's going on with the binding, because that seems weird. What are you doing? If you've spotted what I'm doing wrong, I'd be very grateful of any suggestions. miRack MIDI FX CC10. Yes. Input, input, balance, adjust continuously. Yes. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong bit of MIDI. Hard left, hard right, mid left, mid right, random, 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 opposite random, random, opposite random, random, opposite random, random, opposite random. It's working. Screw. Right. Let's go back into MIDI edit mode and make you half height and put you there and get rid of you and you and you. Oh, and you. Turn that back on, and then I think this works. Ah. I'm being too clever for my own good. Bingo. Bingo, bango, bongo. Ba, bum, bum, ba. So now we have a working pantomizer, like we would have had if I'd just used the preset. Slap me on the head and call me Mr. Silly. But now, how do we plumb it in? Right? Because what we want to do is we want, I mean, I could, I could set things up. So I've got, let me just, let me again, let's go here. Let's make you there. I could have a button. Let's add a button. And this button, press release, as you know, toggle is going to, no, press is going to, actually no, toggle's right. Toggle is going to send a MIDI note. And it's going to send the MIDI message. It's going to send a note. The target is miRack FX. It's on channel 1 and it's C4, right? So I could go, let's just reset. And we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind. And then press that button in live mode. It's not quite fully reset, but that's, you see the point. And now I go, and we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind. And then next time through, and we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind. And when we listen, and we'll roll the old chariot along, they're placed differently in the stereo field. Chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind. And the other thing we need it to do, we need our reset button to do. The other thing that we need our reset button to do is to reset the balance sequencer, don't we? So let's add that now. So balance sequencer, press, it's going to send a MIDI message, note, and it's C#4 to miRack with a value of 127, and then we're going to duplicate that, and we're going to send a value of 0. So now when we press our reset button, the thing goes through the sequence. Oh, it's not quite going through the sequence we thought, is it? Left, right, mid-left, mid-right. Ah, yeah, it is. It's working. Right, yes, it's great. I mean, the things you could do, you could potentially, as well as if on a given channel I have some kind of reverb, one of the things you might want to do is to change the pre-delay that's going into the reverb when it's recorded for each of these theoretical voices. But I've not quite worked out how to make that work cleanly, but it's potentially so because that means it sounds like they're all in the same space, and we would be also, as well as baking, we would be baking the reverb as we record it, rather than using a reverb send on the buses and just having it be there all the time. And I'm not quite sure whether that's worth it, but there's all sorts of randomized effects you could be putting on what's going into the clip. So the next trick is working out how to, because we've got all these different methods of behavior, haven't we? So what we want is, we kind of want, when we start overdubbing, at the first overdub of a sort of layer of loops for that verse, we want to turn our pan on, and then when we finish the last overdub, we want to turn our pan back off, and then next verse we're going to get a new pan, so that the overdubs associated with a particular verse stay in the same place, even if there are multiple overdubs. So we can go into our machinery floor here, and I'm going to shrink the thing so we can read things more. So, for instance, in the pre-chorus, what we want to do when we start overdubbing, so first step, we are recording in the initial recording, we are doing stopping the initial recording, we are we're recording, where are we? Stop recording pre-chorus. That starts recording the chorus. Then we're stopping recording the clip. And the next time through, we want to start recording the pre-chorus. Now, what we want to do at that point, when we're selected, is we want to send a MIDI message to miRack, and we want to send that note, and we want to send that at velocity 127. Yeah. And then let's go to reorder, because it's just easier to reorder. So we're now just think this through, actually. What's this doing? Pre-chorus control, select 5. Step 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that starting recording the pre-chorus? Yes, because when we finish recording the chorus, the button that's telling us to stop recording clip 3, this button here, the step that's, we can't just turn the overdub off at that point. So we can't just turn the new balance off at that point. We need it to happen when we've actually stopped recording, because all we've done there is requested a stop. Yep. Yeah. Let me think this through. That wants to be with last anyway. Yeah. So this is the part of me. I want the pan to be 0 when we are not recording into our default loops. And at the moment, the way this is working is if we did it this way, we would, let me get this right. If we did it this way, we would end up with the pan being permanently set. So what we can do is take advantage of the follow actions again and use stepped dials to, let me see if I can get this right. Use stepped dials to dispatch according to our state, right? So if we think about just the pre-chorus option, the pickup chorus option, yeah. So a pickup chorus, in pickup chorus mode, what we're going to want to happen is we're going to want the pan to go on, we're going to record the response, and at the end of the recording of the response, we want the pan to go off. But when we're doing pre-chorus or a loop chorus, we want the pan to go on. We want the pan to go on, then we want to start recording the loop chorus. Then when we finish the loop chorus, we want the pan to go off. Yeah. So that behavior changes the sort of when we send middle C to miRack changes depending on the state that we are in. Yeah? Okay, so let us add a dial. I'm going to do this here, but you'll see I'll move it out of the way later, and let's make it reasonably big. So this is our response mode. This is what are we gonna? Yeah, let's call it. I'm going to call it the response delegate. Response. Response delegate. And our first position is going to be pickup mode. And that's going to be our action is item 2. And then our next one is going to be loop mode. And our third is going to be pre-chorus. And our fourth is going to be response resp pre right. So we've got this dial, and I'm going to, before I go any further, I'm going to show how we're going to use that. So what's going to happen is, in response, we are going to go to our follow actions, and when we start overdubbing, we are going to trigger widget, and our target widget is response delegate, and our action is going to be, it's going to be scroll, but rather than assign value, we're going to nudge the value by 1. Okay. And then when we finish the overdub, let's do the usual tricky thing of duplicate reorder. When we finish the overdub, we're going to adjust it by -1. See you, Semtex. So now, what does that mean? So let's just go with pickup chorus. Let's just adjust the pickup chorus thing here. So pickup chorus is going to, as well as selecting step dial, actually, pickup chorus, let's add it here. Possibly not the right thing to do, but anyway, that's going to put the trigger widget, the target being our response delegate, and our action is going to be to scroll and to it's going to be to select 1. Sadly, we can't see the name of the position. It's annoying. So that's going to. So now, when we go to pick up chorus, let's just adjust that to somewhere else. Now, when we choose pickup chorus, it's going to go to pickup. It's going to be put into pickup mode, And when we choose, I'll worry about, so now what's going to happen? When we start recording the pickup chorus, the dial is going to be nudged on by 1. So item 2 is going to be selected. So when we select in pickup chorus mode, we're going to want to send a MIDI note to C4 of 127, the target being miRack. Okay? And now, when we finish overdubbing, we're going to be nudged back down to pickup mode. So, when we are deselected, you can see where this is coming, can't you? We are going to, again, send a MIDI message. I'm going to send a MIDI message. It's going to be a note. It's going to be sent to miRack, but the value is going to be 0. So now, in pickup mode, which is all we've set up at the moment, so you know, I know it's in pickup mode, which is all we set up at the moment, we will do Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of glory land. And then the next time through, Lord, build me a cabin in the corner of glory land. Come on, build me a cabin in the corner of glory land. Build me a cabin in the spread across the audio spectrum, across the stereo range. Isn't that good? Let me just do a bit of binding here. Sorry. My controller is not quite working as I want it to. What have I got? I think I've got something wrong here. Ba-da-ba-ba, ba-da-ba-ba, ba. My behaviour of pickup chorus is not working right. Because let me just see if it's working right on Magic. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-da. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Yeah, that's not working right. Let's debug that. So on release, we are scrolling step dial arrangement, and that's sending. Come on. I can read. That is the arrangement selector. Yes, okay. So I'm going to put you off to one side. And what are you? Pre-chorus? No. Chorus. Response pre. Pickup. Always the last place you look. So let's just check what our sequence is doing. We are recording a response. We stop recording the response. We select 2. Ah, you see, that's wrong, isn't it? So we want to stop recording response. The next time it's pressed, we want to just record the response. So I'm going to add a behavior. I'm going to reorder because this is close to right. You're going to there, you're going to there, and you're going to be selecting stop recording response. The next button we press is going to want to record response. So select, record, target, specific clip, response, start recording. Yeah, that will record. And we just want to scroll back to item 4 the next time it's pressed. So it's going to press, it will get advanced, and we're just going back to do the last thing we did. So I mean, we can just nudge by -1 and re-trigger. I think that should work. Let's check. Let's reset. And we'll all hang on behind, and we'll roll the old chariot along. And we'll all hang on behind, and we'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll. And we'll all hang on behind, and we'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll. And we'll roll the old chariot along. And we'll roll the old chariot along. Something interesting going on there. And we'll roll the old chariot along. And we'll roll the old chariot along. And we'll roll the old chariot along. Can you hear that? It's not. I'm just going to make another one shot. I think we might have found a bug. Let's just check my gestures. Tap, I want to be record toggle. 2-finger tap, I want to be play stop toggle rather than the defaults. And we'll roll. And we'll roll. And we'll roll. And we'll roll. This is something completely different. This is something completely different. This is something completely different. Really, honestly. Chariot along. And we'll roll the old chariot along. And we'll roll the old chariot along. We're fading in, and I don't know why. What have I done? And we'll roll the old chariot along. And we'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll. And we'll roll the old chariot along. 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 And we'll roll the old... So that's getting both. So it's something we did in... it's something we did in the machinery. Let's pick up chorus with him too. Tuneless whistling, it's the best, I tell you. I'm not going mad, am I? You're definitely hearing that thing where the thing is fading in. But the timing remains tight, so it's something odd. I wonder if I go and change the mode to oh, the rain, it rains all day long. Bold Riley, oh, bold Riley, and them northern winds, they blow so strong. Bold Riley, oh, has gone away. Goodbye, my sweetheart. Oh, we're outward bound for the Bengal Bay. Bold Riley, bold Riley, get bending, me lads, 'tis a hell of a way. Bold Riley, oh, has gone away. Goodbye, my sweetheart. Oh, bold Riley, oh, bold Riley. Bold Riley, oh, bold Riley. Right, so that's not fading in, is it? That's, so it's something that happens with the introduction of the changing the panning. Now this works on my pre-existing setup, so let's see if we can work out what's going on. It's so what's fucking it up is no doubt not that, but this. But I can see no reason why it would be. We're in that mode, so let's do this directly. The follow action is no longer the follow action isn't going to be doing anything. We'll move it somewhere where it's definitely not going to be doing anything. Dum da da da, dum da da da, dum da da da, and this is something completely different, and it shouldn't fade in. This is something completely different. Oh, it's doing that. What the fuck is going on? Let's save that project, and I'm going to do I'm going to try something brutal. Right, I've just updated Loopy Pro. Let's see if that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is something completely different. This is something completely different. This is something completely different. And we'll roll the old chariot along. And we'll roll the old chariot along. And we'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll. And we'll roll the old chariot. And we'll roll the old. This is something completely different. It should be Rover Wrighton. This is something completely different. It should be Rover Wrighton. This is something completely different. It should be Rover Wrighton. I think that's right. Lift up your hearts, Emmanuel's friends, and taste the pleasure Jesus sends. Let nothing cause you to delay, but hasten in the good old way. For I have a sweet hope of glory in my soul. I have a sweet hope of glory in my soul, and I know I feel I have a sweet hope of glory in my soul. Our conflicts here, though great they be, shall not prevent our victory, if we but strive and march and pray like soldiers in the good old way. And I have a sweet hope of glory in the soul. I have a sweet hope of glory in the soul, and I know I feel I have a sweet hope of glory in my soul. Ah, though Satan may his powers employ, happiness for to destroy, yet never fear we'll gain the day by marching in the good old way. For I have a sweet hope of glory in my soul, I have a sweet hope of glory, and I know I feel I have a sweet hope of glory in my soul. Let's see, do we get that fade any type thing? I have a sweet hope of glory in my soul, I have a sweet hope of glory in my soul, and I know I feel I timing off, worrying about too many things at once. Of glory in my soul. Try that again. I have a sweet hope of glory in my soul, I have a sweet hope. I think it's fine. I'm not sure what happened there. So we have this that we can then put into a different mode every time. I'm going to move it to the machinery floor because otherwise we'll end up having to edit it even more than we would. So copy, delete, machinery, gonna move it down here, paste, gonna resize, gonna move it here, and in here, that follow action, need to change the target to be so now we have to also what I'm going to do is so we can work in the same screen all the time. I'm going back to chorus, and it was pickup chorus, wasn't it? Rather than have that be there, I'm going to go over to the machinery floor, and now, so when we at the moment we are skipping step dial pre-chorus control is triggered, and so we have a select action here for when we choose pre-chorus. So we're going to trigger a widget, the target being the response delegate, and the action being, well, we're going to we're going to make a note of what's happening. So for our purposes, 1 equals pickup, 3 equals loop chorus, 5 equals pre-chorus, and 7 equals rasp pre-chorus. Okay, so what we can do is we can duplicate this, and this one will be, well, actually we only need 3, don't we? So this is the response delegate, this is the and this is the chorus delegate. So, so in pickup mode for our hi Papa. No, I won't restart. In pickup mode, then we are setting the pan, then unsetting the pan. In loop mode, we're not used at all. In pre-chorus, we're not used at all. And in response, pre-chorus, chorus, we want to, when we start recording, i.e. when this action part is selected, where are we? Response pre-chorus, so this is the select action here. When we are selected, we want to set the balance, but we don't need to do anything when we're deselected, because that's the problem that's chorus. When chorus is done, that's what that wants to do, right? So then, in more from the VOD rewatch anyway, yes. Poke the algorithm with a stick and garner notification. So yes, now in pickup mode for the pre-chorus clip, we don't want to do anything when we are start overdubbing, and we are, as it happens, never going to want to turn it off. It will always, because if you think about what happens when you start recording a pre-chorus, when you finish recording a pre-chorus, you immediately start recording the chorus. So again, in loop mode, we won't need to do anything, but in pre and then chorus mode, obviously, we will need to send note C4 to start the change in the balance. In response pre-chorus, the response has already set it for us, so we only need an action when we are launched, and it actually wants to be not in pre-chorus itself, but in the thing we get nudged to. Always good to remember that. So that's that for the pre-delegate. The chorus delegate is a bit more kind of like straightforward, because if you think about it, pretty much in pickup mode, we're not doing anything. In loop mode, then when we are selected, we send C4, and when we are deselected, i.e. when we finish overdubbing, we send release C4. In chorus, in pre-chorus then chorus mode, then when we are deselected, we're going to release C4. And in the fullness of time, again, when we are deselected, we are going to send, wants to be there, we are going to send release C4. So now it's just a matter of configuring this to be in the right modes, yeah? So pre-chorus mode, we're going to select, in response delegate, we're going to select 1. Actually, no. In response delegate, we're going to select 5. Yeah. And that will be, if we can duplicate that and change it so the step dial is the pre-delegate, we're going to select 5 again. And we're going to duplicate that, and then we're going to select 5 in the chorus as well. and with and then in looped chorus, yes. Yep. Yeah. So I'm going to duplicate, go into reorder, and this is when we're in looped chorus. Duplicate, and now in loop chorus mode, we want to be selecting oh, that's annoying. We actually have to, can't get away with that. So actually, can we? No. Is it just because I moved it into the wrong place? I think it might be. Loop chorus, select. Will that, yes. Select that one and select 3. Yeah, you just find these things out, I'm afraid. Duplicate. Duplicate. So that's target is that one. That's target is that one. So now duplicate, reorder. So now when we're going to pick up chorus mode, then that's 1 on the response delegate. Select 1 and duplicate. So that's target is that. I hate it when I forget to do that. And then we've finally got response pre-chorus. So duplicate, reorder. Is that the right one? Yes. Select. We are selecting 7. Duplicate, with last, target, pre-delegate. Keep doing this. Target, chorus delegate. So if we go back to the chorus, hold reset. So if we're doing looping chorus, we should see dum da 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 dum da 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 dum da 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 dum da 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 dum da da dum da da. That's not working. We're in loop chorus mode. Machinery is right. Loop mode, item 4, when selected, send. Yep. When deselect. What I've not done. Of course, what I forgot to do is add the follow actions. So follow action for begin initial recording is to trigger a widget. Target is the pre-chorus delegate, and we are scrolling a nudge of 1, and when we've no, put it in the wrong place. When we begin the overdub, when we finish the overdub, then we are nudging the same by -1. Done, close, close, and then we do the same thing for the follow actions of the chorus. Begin overdub, trigger widget, target, chorus delegate, action, scroll, nudge by 1, duplicate, reorder, finish overdub, nudge by -1. So loop chorus mode. We should see on the first overdub something changing. Does that make sense? Dum da 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 dum da 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 dum dum da 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 dum da 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 dum. Oh, that's annoying. Let's listen. Dum da 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 dum. See what happened there? The whole point about using the follow actions was for the reset of the balance, the pan, to happen after recording finished, and instead it's happening immediately when we press the button. And I wonder what's happening if we go into pre-chorus. And we'll all hang on behind, and we'll roll the old chariot along. And we'll all hang on behind, and we'll roll the old chariot along. And we'll roll the old chariot along. Hang on behind. Now then, what's going on there? That was doing entirely the wrong thing. Ah, I think I found out what the problem is with the... Got an accidental fade in. Don't want that. Wonder when I did that. Anyway, what's happening on the follow actions? Pre-delegate, scrolling it by 1. So in pre-stroke chorus mode, what's it doing? It is sending C4. What you doing in pre-stroke chorus? Does this fix it? It's a thing I want to do as well. State feedback. State feedback is disabled. Good. That's what I need. And we'll all hang on behind, and we'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind. And working follow actions wouldn't do us any harm. And we'll all hang on behind, and we'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind. I'm going to cry. This works. This works for me in my default preset. Let me just confirm that it works for me in my default preset. And then work out what I'm doing differently. So let's hang on a minute. Having a loud lodger never helps, does it? And we'll all hang on behind, and we'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind. And we'll all hang on behind, and we'll roll the old chariot along. We'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind. Drat. Right. Oh, I'm doing it differently with how am I? What am I? This is more complicated anyway, but to ignore the chorus stopper stuff, that's fancy stuff. Scrolling by 4 and scrolling back by -4. Yeah. In theory, that should just be working. Although something about it's not working because it's lost the undo redo. And we'll all hang on behind, and we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind, and we'll hang on behind, and we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot. Right. I am now a very confused looper. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong. So I'm going to have to go and dig into this and work out what's going on and come back and probably redo this section from scratch. And also, it's 4 o'clock. And my wife will be finishing her dialysis soon. So, thank you all so much for watching me fall down a rabbit hole and fail to work out what's going wrong. It's been fun. It's genuine. I know it's genuinely been fun. It's always nice when there are people in chat. So, thank you all so much for stopping by and the people who've said stuff in chat. And we'll get back to this probably sometime next week, Monday or Wednesday, not sure which. And you have a great week. And we will see you. Yeah, these things happen. I actually have a working template. So, but I was hoping to rather than have to splatter tutorial text all over, I was hoping to talk people through how the thing worked. But clearly that's not happening. But we'll go tomorrow. We'll start from a working panner and go from that to a working template, I hope. See ya.